Hey, welcome back to this special. I guess not welcome back. Welcome back isn't even the right word. Welcome to this special movie review of South of Heaven. It's a 2021 film by Aaron. I'm going to butcher his last name, Kishales, starring Jason Sudeikis and Evangeline Lilly, and Galactic Treasure, Mike Colter. Who is severely underrated as an actor and should definitely get more work. Anyway, so South of Heaven is an American crime film. It's about this guy, Jimmy Ray, who was arrested, was spending time in jail for an armed robbery, and he's up for parole, and he's telling the parole board, hey, I need to get out. I need to go see Annie. Annie's my love. Annie is his wife, who he married while he was in prison, but the love of his life. And so the parole board's like, okay, great, you can go. By the way, spoilers. And so Jason Sudeikis as Jimmy gets out, goes and meets up with Annie, and they're having, a good time. And I'm going to tell you, I watched the preview for this, and I'm not 100% sure what preview I watched because I was expecting something kind of different. I was expecting, this nice romantic story about a guy and his wife who has a year to live because Annie has cancer. And this is a dark movie, but it's really good. I really, really liked it. But anyway, so Jimmy has to go see his parole officer, Officer Schmidt, who is played by Shea Whigham, who is great. As well, I enjoyed him in Agent Carter. That's one of my favorite Shea Whigham roles. But he's done a ton of stuff. He was also great in Boardwalk Empire. But that being said, Officer Schmidt is definitely a corrupt parole officer, and he wants Jimmy to do one more crime, and he's kind of stepping on him. He plants drugs in his locker. Anyway, so Jimmy doesn't know what he's going to do. He's out with a friend, and as he's driving back, he has a car accident, and he kills a motorcyclist. And it's a really gruesome scene, actually, because the motorcyclist gets cut in half by Jimmy's truck. And anyway, so Jimmy calls his friend, one of his former colleagues from his life of crime, and they dispose of the motorcycle and the body, and everything seems to be okay. Jimmy goes back to Annie. Jimmy's friend, is running his salvage yard and everything, and then all of a sudden, Mike Colter shows up. And it was really interesting because he's like, "Where's my money?" And the guy has no idea what he's talking about. And it's like, I don't want to get too much into it because there's a really great torture scene, like not torture, but like it was a very great interrogation scene that I think everybody needs to watch. But that being said, like this movie has a bunch of twists and turns, some things you don't expect. Whit Price is the character that Mike Colter plays. He's a modern day gangster with a heart of gold, yet he's super just violent when he needs to be. Kidnaps Annie because Jimmy's friend, on his way out the door, obviously spills the beans, and so you kind of I didn't know what to expect at this point because I was expecting to see Jimmy and Annie live out the rest of their life, or the rest of Annie's life for the next year, and Jimmy goes and kidnaps Whit's kid, which was crazy, and it was actually the kid and Jason Sudeikis had great chemistry. They were really quite funny together, and it was interesting just kind of watching Jason Sudeikis deal with Tommy, who was Whit's son, played by Thaddeus Mixon. Kid, you got a future. You were really good in this movie, and holding your own and stealing some scenes from Jason Sudeikis, in my opinion, is no small feat. Anyway, but yeah, so there's this little adventure, and Jimmy trying to negotiate to get Annie back, and it works. And while Jimmy is watching Tommy gets away, runs off, gets hit by a car. Doesn't die or anything like that, but gets hit by a car. And Jimmy makes the exchange, and it just doesn't occur to him to tell Whit that, oh, hey, by the way, your kid got away and got hit by a car, because he didn't. He thought the kid was okay. So Jimmy and Annie make their way to Mexico so they can have a real wedding, because their wedding was, done by the courthouse, the jailhouse priest, reverend, minister, whatever. And he wanted to give her the wedding of her dreams, and he wanted to give her a great last year of life. And so this is where, like, okay, great, we've gotten past all this dark stuff. Now we're going to see some happy stuff. Oh, no. So while Jimmy and Annie are in Mexico, Tommy, Whit comes in, and Tommy's still asleep, so we think. And he sits down and starts talking to him, and it's great because the camera kind of pans down, and Iran had this great, I don't know who was the cinematographer, but it's this great shot as the camera kind of pans down, and you see Tommy is just leaking blood, and Whit has no idea, and he's talking, and he unloads on him about how, just a story about Tommy's mom. And it was really, really touching and heartfelt to have this big, tough gangster just open up. And then he sees what's happening, and, the next thing we know, he's running Tommy into the hospital. He gets to the doctor, the doctors come out, and they're like, hey, he's got severe hemorrhaging. We'll let you know what happens when we know what's happening. And at that point, Whit goes to his, I'm going to call him his consigliere. And it's like, hey, do you know where they are? And he's like, yeah, I know where they are, because Whit likes putting trackers on all of his vehicles. And this was established earlier in the movie when they were killing Honest Frank, who was Jimmy's friend. So anyway, so he's like, you go down there and you kill her first in front of him, because I want him to suffer, but you make sure she doesn't suffer, because when Whit had Annie hostage, he felt for her, and he kind of shared the experience of losing his wife to cancer, to what Annie was going through. And it was really, again, two actors who had great chemistry, Evangeline Lilly and Mike Colter. I've never seen Evangeline Lilly have bad chemistry with anybody, so there's that. So he sends his guys down to track them down and kill Annie, and I'm assuming to kill Jimmy too, even though that wasn't really said. So they get down there, and they're filling up gas, and Jimmy happened to be at the store, and he sees them, and of course the tension has to, the trope, oh my God, he's trying to call her, and he's in the shower, and she has her phone on vibrate. And, she doesn't hear it, and he's running for as fast as he can, which is really funny, because earlier in the movie when he was chasing Tommy, part of the reason Tommy got away and got hit by a car is because he's so out of shape, and, he couldn't keep up with him. But anyway, Annie finally answers the phone just in time, and she's warned, hey, they're coming in, get the gun, go out the back. But she doesn't have time to do that. So, there's a gunfight that ensues, and it was really tense. They did a really good job building the tension of either Annie or something bad was going to happen to Annie or Jimmy or both, and they both come away unscathed, which was cool. And earlier in the movie too, just kind of to jump back, we see a scene where Jimmy has to the mission that Schmidt sent him on, he's got to go and deal with Amaury, Nolasco from Prison Break, and Major League 3 back to the minors. Anyway, he has to go back or he has to deal with him, and he shows some actual good capabilities of hand-to-hand type combat, and so this is a guy who can take care of himself. And apparently Annie can as well, and they make their way out of it, and this was the the end of the second act and the third act of the movie is Jimmy in this revenge plot where he goes and to hunt down Whit, breaks into Whit's house, is like a Terminator. He gets shot himself a couple times, ends up finding Tommy in his bed on oxygen in a coma, and he has this realization of what's happened, but then Whit like busts into the room and shoots Jimmy, not fatally, but shoots Jimmy, and Jimmy fires back and kills Whit, and then just leaves. Like, I mean, I can understand he doesn't want to be arrested again or anything like that, but leaves and goes back to Annie. And as he gets back to Andy, I was expecting like some kind of a Shane type instance where, before he gets to her, he slumps over in the little boat that he's taking back across the Rio Grande into Mexico from Texas. But no, they get there, and it seems like Jimmy and Annie have this happily ever after, or like happily ever, 9 to 12 months. And as far as like a movie goes, like I said, it was really strange because here we have what is a really interesting love story between Jimmy and Annie. And then we have this really dark crime drama that involves a corrupt parole officer, a gangster, honest Frank, a former criminal who, sold Jimmy out like at the last minute. And I just think, it's just really, really, really interesting. One, I love Jason Sudeikis. I think as far as the SNL cast goes, he's the most talented actor to come out of that group in the last 25 years, followed very, 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 very closely by Andy. And, it's just one of those things that I really like. I go out of my way to watch Jason Sudeikis movies, and after Evangeline Lilly did everything that she did over the last couple weeks on social media, and kind of standing up and having a voice, it's like, well, crap, she's in this too, and I really like her, so I'm definitely gonna watch this. And I decided this was gonna be my first of the new Brian reviews a movie every week, type of thing. So here's the fun thing. This movie is available to rent on Vudu, on iTunes, pretty much any kind of video on demand stuff. It was 99 cents when I rented it. Definitely worth 99 cents. Actually, like, if it was like $5.99, I was 100% going to rent this movie and watch it. I will buy it if it's on sale someday for sure. I did watch it twice. And it's very, very, very good. So yeah, we typically do movies out of 10 stars, just because TV shows are a little bit shorter and deserve 5. But I think as a 1 out of 10 scale, this would definitely, in my book, and again, if you listen, that an 8 is not equal across all films, nor is a 4. But this would be a solid 7 out of 10 film for me. It's enjoyable. It's got some really interesting twists to it, and at the end of the day, it's a strong character-driven movie that really takes the time to explore the motivations of the, I'm going to say, 3 main characters with Jimmy, Annie, and Whit, and I appreciate that. And we need more movies like this, as far as how they treated the characters, not more crime movies that you go into thinking it might be some sort of mix of a rom-com and drama, rom-dramedy, if you will. But yeah, so all right, well, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. I will get better at talking by myself, I promise. This is the first time I've actually done this in a while on my own. So yeah, so make sure like and subscribe. Go check us out on Patreon. Follow us on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at Brian Tudor. Follow Daryl on Instagram at djasper07. And yeah, and we'll be back. I'll be back later in the week with The Tender Bar, starring Ben Affleck and one of my favorite young actors, Ty Sheridan. So wherever you are, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whatever it is. And we will talk to you later.